right. In the last video that I put up, we were outside. We've been going out last few weeks and going over to, just some hunting land where we've been scouting, getting a lot of steps in, walking pretty far. Last time we went a total of 4.8 miles. And so trying to do that consistently. In the first video, when we went out, I, put that out a couple weeks ago, basically just talked about doing things you enjoy as activity. And so I'm trying to do that myself and, being more intentional about that. In the second video, part of what we talked about was having a structure, having, a plan, progressing in that plan. And so tracking what you're doing, and then also competition mindset to push yourself and keep getting better. But I wanted to talk today. Obviously, we're not doing that today. And so, one of the reasons is because if you can't tell, it's super rainy out. And so the weather did not really permit for it for one. Also, I just went and got a new bow. So, that's a whole other story, but basically things got, plans got changed and didn't get it in this week. And, we've only been doing it for a few weeks, already missed a week of getting out and doing it. So I want to talk about the mindset that is going to be important to have whenever you're starting any kind of new program, any new, diet, exercise, just trying to be healthier in general, whatever it is. You really need to understand that it's not going to be perfect. Real life situations are going to come up. Real life is going to be that things aren't going to always work out. And it's important to have grace with yourself and to recognize that you're not perfect. And it's okay if things fall through, if you're not able to get everything in that you planned to or that you wanted to. Having a plan, having a structure is important. If you just don't have a plan or have a structure, then yeah, that's a problem and you need to fix that. But even still, you don't need to get discouraged, get down on yourself. You just need to do better at putting together a plan, having structure. If you're not sticking to the plan that you have, it's worth evaluating. Is it realistic? Is it something I can actually stick with and do? Do I need to maybe cut back my expectations a little bit with the stage of life or, just starting out? That's fair. But if it isn't if it's like, no, I should be able to do this, there's no excuse, then that's okay to, recognize, but there's a time to be hard on yourself and there's a time to recognize that, again, things are going to happen. You're not going to be perfect and that's okay. If you get too discouraged, if you get too down on yourself, thinking that, that's what you're supposed to do. I gotta be on myself and I'm a failure and I gotta do better. Oftentimes that mindset leads people to quit because they don't have any grace with themselves in the process and it just gets too discouraging and they end up giving up. They get too discouraged and they just think they're a failure and it's all negative self-talk. The people who get back up and stick with it and eventually figure out a stride and stick with it long term and still fail at times are the ones who have positive self-talk. They are recognizing that it's okay. I'm not perfect. One missed workout's not going to ruin everything. One missed day of, tracking my calories isn't going to ruin everything. Now I will say a couple tips along with that. First of all, if you can substitute something, that's going to be the first thing to think through when you're going to, if you're going to miss something, especially be thinking preemptively, what could I substitute? What could I do instead of this? So that in your mind, you didn't completely miss or completely fail. You can still check the box that, okay, I still did something. I still benefited in some way. So for me, I still did my workout today. Now that's not in place of the, going out into the woods and doing a little extra activity. So I can't really be like, oh, I worked out, so that's good enough. I'm talking about something additional in place of that. And so, I could go home and walk on the treadmill. It's rainy, so I'm not going to be able to probably do it outside, or I could just do something else in place of that activity that I missed today. And so that way you're not feeling like you completely failed or you completely just gave up because you couldn't do what you originally had planned. So being adaptable, being flexible, and still doing what you can is tip number one. And then secondly, if you absolutely can't do anything, if something comes up, you can't make a substitution, you can't do something in its place, then try to make it up a different time. You can still, maybe you can't do it today, but you could move it to tomorrow. Maybe you can move it to another day. Even if it's a week from now, if you can do a little bit extra on a different day, you can still make it up. This works for exercise, but it also works for calories too. If you overeat one day, a lot of people just, oh, I failed, I messed up, I overate, and then they don't make up for it. They don't adjust. And if you just adjust the next day or next couple days, you will still get the same results. Even if you had a bad day, if you make up for the next couple days, you'll get the same results. And so don't just throw in the towel because you had a bad day. You can make it up. You've got time to still, do something, even if you can't substitute it that same exact day. Last of all, the last thing I'll say is if you aren't doing anything and you are just being actually lazy, you could do it, but you're choosing not to. You could have done it, but you just continually are slacking off. It's not a matter of, things are coming up. And guess what? You're going to occasionally slack off too. That's probably going to happen. But if it is simply, I'm just not motivated, I don't keep myself accountable, I have no accountability to do it, and I can just decide not to, and I'm continually doing that, and I know I'm making bad choices, that's when there should be a little bit of that. Okay, I got to change something. I got to do something. This isn't okay. Usually people flip it around. Usually when they're actually doing something for themselves and you're trying to stick to a program and you mess up, you get discouraged and you throw in the towel. Oh, I'm a failure. But then when you're just not doing anything and it's, you know what? I'm not going to care. I'm not going to pay attention. I'm just going to do whatever I want, eat what I want. People make excuses for themselves and they don't feel bad. And it's backwards. And so if you can get that flipped around and get that right, where you give yourself some grace when you actually are doing something and you're trying. And then also when you are actually being lazy or just not caring, to not just throw in the towel and say, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Try to still care. Try to still, find solutions that are going to work for you. That could mean finding accountability. It could mean finding a coach. It could mean getting a gym membership. It could look 1,000 different ways. And I talk a lot about this. This is the customization side of things. Everybody's different. What's going to work for you is going to be different. And so don't just give up if one thing doesn't work. Keep trying, try other things. And again, just have some grace with yourself. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you're inconsistent because you missed once. You can still be consistent as long as you continually stick with it long term. Consistency is based on the long term, what you did over the course of months, a year, multiple years, not just did you miss a day here or there. All right. That's it for this one. I will see you in the next one.